y'all? It's your homeboy LocsNLoad Firearm Reviews here today. So continuing on our Black History Month video compilation, today I'm going to talk about how did Black History Month start and who started it. Alright, so Black History Month was started by a man named Carter G. Woodson. Right, and so I'm going to go through his little story of how he came about creating Black History Month. Alright, so let's get into it. So in Chicago of 1915, a young University of Chicago alumni named Carter G. Woodson and his friends went to go participate in the 15th anniversary of the Emancipation Proclamation that was being sponsored by the state of Illinois. Thousands of African Americans across the country came to see the exhibits and highlights of all the African history and the destruction of slavery. All the things that we had been through, all the things we had accomplished and gotten over. Right? So, Mr. Woodson had been awarded a doctorate from the University of Harvard 3 years earlier. So, Woodson and the other exhibitors had went out to the Coliseum, the same Coliseum that held the Republican Convention of 1912. Even though there was still a crowd of 6,000 to 12,000 people outside waiting their turns to see the exhibits. Inspired by the 3-week celebration, Mr. Woodson decided to form an organization to help promote the scientific study of Black life and history before he left. So on September 9th, Carter G. Woodson met at the Wabash, hopefully I'm saying it right, Wabash YMCA with A.L. Jackson and 3 others, and formed the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History, the ASNLH. Okay. So in 1916, he and other Black intellectuals established the Journal of Negro Study. No, my bad, the Journal of Negro History. I'm skipping lines. So the Journal of Negro History in 1960. In 1920, Woodson urged his fraternity brothers of the Omega Psi Phi and other Black organizations to help promote their achievements and findings to other Black people. He wanted them to help promote and put out the research to others. Hey, yo, help us out. You see what we're doing? Help us out. Alright, so in 1924, his Omega Psi Phi fraternity responded by creating the Negro History and Literature Week, which they renamed later on to Negro Achievement Week. Also very significant, Carter knew that this movement, this Negro Achievement Week, could be bigger and better than what it was. So he had put out to aim to grow this movement. He had told an audience of Hampton Institute students, "We are going back to that beautiful history and it's going to inspire us to greater achievements." In 1925, he decided that the association had to shoulder the responsibility. Going forward, it would both create and popularize knowledge of the Black past. He sent out a press release announcing Negro History Week in February 1926. Alright. So, why did Mr. Woodson choose the month of February to host his Negro History Week? So, Mr. Woodson chose February for reasons of tradition and reform. It's commonly said that Woodson selected February to encompass the birthdays of 2 great Americans who played a prominent role in shaping Black history, Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass, whose birthday is Mr. Lincoln was the 12th and Frederick Douglass was the 14th, respectively. More importantly, he chose them for reasons of tradition. Since Lincoln's assassination in 1865, the Black community and other Republicans had been celebrating the fallen president's birthday. And since the 1890s, the Black community across the country had been celebrating Douglass. Alright, so well aware of the pre-existing celebrations, Woodson built Negro History Week around the traditional days of commemorating the Black past. He was asking the public to extend their studies of Black history, not to create a new tradition, but to focus on the history that was already there. In doing so, he increased his chances of success. Okay. Yet, Woodson was up to something more than just building on tradition. Without saying so, he aimed to reform the study of these 2 great men into the race. Instead of focusing on Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass, we're going to focus on the black race. All right. So, even though he admired both men, Woodson never had been fond of the celebrations held in their honor. He rallied against the ignorant spellbinders who addressed large gatherings and displayed their lack of knowledge about the men and their contributions to history. More importantly, Woodson believed that the history was made by the people, not simply or primarily by the men themselves. Lincoln didn't do everything himself. He had people with him. Frederick Douglass didn't do everything himself. He had people with him. Same with Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. All great leaders don't do things by themselves. They always have help, but we rarely know the names of those help. All right. He envisioned the study and celebration of the Negro as a race, not simply as producers of a great man. And Lincoln, however great, had not freed the slaves. That's a lot of things people don't really honestly know. The Emancipation Proclamation didn't free the slaves. Right? So he had not freed the slaves. The Union Army, including hundreds of thousands of black soldiers and sailors, had done that. Rather than focusing on two men, the black community, he believed, should focus on the countless black men and women who have contributed to the advancement of human civilization. Right? So from the beginning, he was getting overwhelmed with calls. Like, this was great. Everybody wanted to hop on and join this, right? So Negro History Week appeared across the country in schools and before the public. The 1920s was the decade of the new Negro, a name given to the post-World War I generation because of his rising racial pride and consciousness. Urbanization, industrialization had brought over 1 million African Americans from the rural South into big cities of the nation. The expanding black middle class became participants in and consumers of black literature and culture. Black history clubs sprang up. Teachers demanded materials to instruct their pupils, and progressive whites stepped up and endorsed the efforts. Woodson and the association were scrambling to meet demand. All these people wanting all this stuff, that's a lot of demand, right? So they had set a theme for the annual celebration and provided study materials, pictures, lessons, plays for historical performances, and posters of important dates and people. All right, provision with the steady flow of knowledge, high schools and progressive communities formed Negro history clubs to serve the desire of history buffs to participate in the re-education of black folks in the nation. The ASNLH formed branches that stretched from coast to coast. And in 1937, at the urging of Mary McLeod Bethune, again, I hate that I can't really pronounce these names. I suck. I'm sorry. I'm from the South. So Woodson established the Negro History Bulletin, which focused on the annual theme. As black populations grew, mayors issued Negro History Week proclamations, and in cities like Syracuse, progressive whites joined Negro History Week with National Brotherhood Week. Right? Negro history proved to be more dynamic than Woodson or the association could control. By the 1930s, Woodson complained about the intellectual charlatans, black and white, popping up everywhere seeking to take advantage of the public interest in black history. All these people popping up everywhere claiming black this, and they're not even black. So, everyone sees the movement, everyone's trying to hop in and, get a little bit of the coin. He warned teachers not to invite speakers who had less knowledge than the students themselves. Increasingly, publishing houses that had previously ignored black topics and authors rushed to put books on the market and in the schools. Instant experts appeared everywhere, and non-scholarly works appeared from mushroom presses. In America, nothing popular escapes either commercialization or even trivialization. And so Woodson, the constant reformer, had his hands full in promoting celebrations worthy of the people who made the history. Sounds like a lot of things that happen nowadays. Black people come up with something new, and then bam, everybody else is right on it. All right. So well before his death in 1950, Woodson believed that the weekly celebrations, not the study or celebration of black history, but everyone coming out celebrating, look at me, I'm all pretty, would eventually go away and come to an end. Woodson never viewed black history as a one-week affair. he had pressed for schools to use Negro History Week to demonstrate what students learned all year. Okay. In the same vein, he established a Black Studies Extension program to reach adults throughout the year. It was in this sense that blacks would learn of their past on a daily basis that he looked forward to coming up in the future, coming up in the times coming on. All right. So he spoke of a shift. He wanted was to go from Negro History Week to Negro History Year, because he was saying that trying to cram all this great Black history into 1 week was a lot and it was kind of hard to do. So in the 1940s, efforts began slowly within the Black community to expand the study of Black history in the schools and Black history celebrations before the public. In the South, Black teachers often taught Negro history as a supplement to United States history. One early benefactor of the movement reported that his teacher would hide Woodson's textbooks underneath his desk to avoid attention from the principal. During the Civil Rights Movement in the South, the Freedom Schools incorporated Black history into the curriculum to advance social change. The Negro History Movement was an intellectual insurgency that was part of every larger effort to transform race relations. Kind of makes me wish they still had schools like that right now. I know they have some Afrocentric schools in certain areas, but I wish it was more widespread. Like every city had an Afrocentric school or Afrocentric organization there, where Black folks could go and get this knowledge, locally. All right. In the 1960s, a dramatic effort on the study and celebration of Black history was put in forth. Before the decade was over, Negro History would be well on its way to becoming Black History Month. The shift to a month-long celebration began even before Dr. Woodson's death. As early as 1940s, blacks in West Virginia, a state where Woodson often spoke, began to celebrate February as Negro History Month. In Chicago, a now forgotten cultural activist, Frederick H. Hambaruti, again, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, started celebrating Negro History Month in the mid-1960s. Having taken an African name in the 1930s, Hambaruti used his cultural center, the House of Knowledge, to fuse African consciousness with the study of the Black past. By the late 1960s, as young blacks on college campuses become increasingly conscious of links with Africa, Black History Month replaced Negro History Week at a quickening pace. Within the association, younger intellectuals, part of the awakening, prodded Woodson's organization to change with the times. They succeeded. In 1976, 50 years after the first celebration, the association used its influence to institutionalize the shifts within a week to a month, and from Negro history to Black history. Since the mid-1970s, every American president, Democrat and Republican, has issued proclamations endorsing the association's annual theme. Let's see. What Carter G. Woodson would say about the continued celebrations is unknown, but he would smile at all the honest efforts to make Black history a field of serious study and provide the public with thoughtful celebrations. And that is it, guys. So that is how Black History Month started. It started by a young man, or you want to say a group of intellectual African Americans who wanted to do more for the race and have our history put out there and known and studied and celebrated since 1915. So since 1915, Black History Month was Negro History Week, and then it grew and it grew and it grew till the 60s, 70s when it became Black History Month. So again, I want to give a huge thank you to Mr. Carter G. Woodson. If he had never done this, we'd never know where we would be right now. But because he did what he did, we're at where we're at, and I give him all the thanks and praise for it, because again, what he's done with Black History Month has led us right here to now. What he did in 1915, here it is 2021, and it's still growing. It's huge. Every time Black History Month comes around, I swear to God, it's like black people don't know how to act no more, right? And I'm all for it. Right? We get 1 month to show out, so sit back and let us show out. All right. So anyway, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this historic video. Again, I like doing these because even as a kid, I would do book reports on things in the library. I was that kind of nerdy kid. I didn't really socialize with a lot of people. I can shoot very well, but when it comes to socializing with humans, I'm like Alex Jones. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of retarded. So, but you know, I always love doing these book reports. I love history. You know, I love seeing that. How do we get from there to here, or how do we get from here coming from there? You know, so seeing the history, seeing the accomplishments, seeing the feats, like the last video with Robert Smalls. You know, just imagine yourself as a slave trying to escape with your family and other families, and you stole literally a Confederate warship. Like, if you got caught, bro, that is your ass. Like, you can't imagine the amount of fear like you would have, but to be that determined where you accept all those risks because of the situation you're in and the situation you want to get to, like things like that is what really, you know, ticks my brain. You know, I love seeing things like that, especially dang escapes. You know, people who step up against things people tell them not to. No, don't stand up. Just bow. Be safe. Do what you gotta do to survive. You know, and there's people who say, fuck all that, bro. You know, and I like those people. I like those people. So anyway, you know, Carter G. Woodson, that's one of my people. He stood up at a time where black people were told to stand down and not do nothing, be quiet, don't make no noise, be a good little Negro and you'll be safe. And Carter G. Woodson said, fuck all that, I'm gonna put my people out here on the map. And today I want to thank you, Mr. Carter G. Woodson, because your effort did not go in vain. So on top of that, guys, oh yeah, I'm gonna put this out. I know there's always some politician ass neat motherfucker in my comment section. Oh, he's Republican. Oh, that's Democrat. Listen, I'm gonna start blocking you people. I don't give a fuck what party you're from. Fuck all that. Fuck your Republican Party. Fuck your Democratic Party. Fuck your third party. Alright? I don't want to see that shit in the comments. I don't give a fuck about none of that politician shit. Alright? So if you put down your shit on there, oh, Republicans is, or Democrat, I'm literally gonna delete that shit. I don't give a fuck about politics. I don't want to see politics in my fucking posts. Alright? So, that means that. Thank you for watching. You know, if you want to support Patreon, that helps support the channel. LocsNLoadFirearms.com helps support the channel. We're Gun the Nation helps support the nation. And firearm instruction consultation, where you have questions about guns, gear, ammo, and what the hell I'm doing with this scope. Consultation service. On top of that, guys, stay dangerous. LocsNLoad out.